Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to our council meeting today on April 23rd. This time of the meeting calling to order at 1 p.m. First off, I'll read our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Asphodel-Norwood is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which include Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alterville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Islands First Nations. The Township of Asphodel-Norwood respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and continue to maintain the responsibility to ensure the health and integrity for generations to come. We'll now invite everyone to pause for a moment of silent reflection to prepare for the council meeting ahead as a gesture of respect and contemplation. We would also like to take a moment to remember a former Asphodel councillor and deputy reeve, Kenneth Humphreys, who passed away on April 11th at the age of 91. I'll now ask members to declare any conflict of interest or pecuniary interest before the council. Seeing no hands, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion to approve today's agenda as circulated or amended.
As circulated.
As circulated, Councillor Ward, second by Deputy Mayor Burt. All in favor? Motion's carried. Approval of the minutes. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the regular minutes of April 9th as presented or amended. Councillor Walsh.
As presented.
As presented. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Burt. Any comments? All in favor? Motion's carried. Business arising. Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Actually, there's just a follow-up I actually had sent off to Melanie regarding the delegation that was here on garbage and organics from the county. I was wondering whether we had any updates from other townships. So I'm just passing along what Melanie had provided to me. So Kevin Monaghan, North Portland, Trent Lakes are still out. Tonabee, South Monaghan, ourselves, Durgummer are still in looking at it. And Selwyn, actually their meeting is today. And Havelock, Belmont, Methuen is May 7th. So just by passing along to everybody, that's kind of the status where everybody else is.
Alrighty, moving along to our consent agenda. We have correspondence items C1 through C11 and staff reports 1 and 2 and special events committee, library board, cultural and heritage committee minutes. Do we have somebody to approve as circulated or amended? Councillor Ward?
With comment on C2, please.
C2 comment. Second by Deputy Mayor Burt.
And I'd just like to comment C4 and R2.
4 and R2. Councillor Walsh.
Actually, it would be C2, C4 are kind of related to one another. So
Yeah. Right. Okay, Councillor Ward.
Thank you through you, Mayor. And yes, C2 and C4 are directly, related. For C2, I just wanted to point out that the 3-year freeze on increasing DC charges, it looks like municipalities over 300,000 is what they say in this report. But I did reach out to the building department staff and they said that there's going to be a report coming forward to further identify what happens with our township and the DC charges. So,
Okay.
thank you.
And that was on C2, Councillor Walsh, did you have? Yeah, basically just to echo, to echo what Councillor Ward said, is I had reached out as well, and understanding is our building head will be bringing forward a report just kind of what the impact of that is on us, because we unfortunately just went through and updated all our DC charges, so.
Right.
Stay tuned.
C4,
Same comment, so it's all good.
same thing?
Yeah.
R2,
Yeah, through you, Mayor, to our clerk, the communication survey response, thank you very much for putting that together. In our history of surveys, that was a very tiny response, because normally we've done really, really well on surveys, so. Either we're doing a really good job, if people aren't getting the, I don't know, but I think when you first brought it to council and you had that. Report that stated everything that is done, you know, all of the places that our communication is, how people can reach out. I think that's key, and I think just having that piece. Available to us and to the general public as to where they can find information is quite helpful. So I think having that piece is good. So, yeah, the survey, you know, doesn't really stand out that anything is, you know, at the top of the list, but thank you for doing that. And of course, it was helpful, I think. Thank you.
all right, everybody, go ahead.
And if I may just tag on to what Deputy Mayor Byrd said, I had reached out to our clerk Melanie Hudson as well. And I do think that the paper version, like, you know, having it in a couple different places where people, you know, can grab a paper version. And Melanie has also given some to be put at the Heritage Center because the opening is coming up. So there will be paper versions there for more communication. So just another spot that people can grab one. So thank you.
Very good, Mel. Everybody was in favor of that motion? That was carried? Not yet. All in favor of that motion? It's carried. Delegations, we have no delegations with us today. Correct? So we'll move along to staff and committee reports. R3, Alan Hewitt, CAO, gravel crushing tenders.
Through you, Mayor, I've been for a few in a row here, but I'll start with the most exciting one I have for you today. Oh, no, not really. Which is the gravel crushing tender. This is a tender that goes out pretty much every year. It's something that we need every year, so we went out this year. We got the response back, and we have, a company has come back and they basically said that they can supply what we need for the $54,000. We had budgeted 65, so I think this is a pretty straightforward one, and this is a good deal for us.
All right, thank you, Alan. The motion is that council of the township of Asphodel-Norwood receives this report regarding for information, and further that the council authorizes the mayor and staff to execute an agreement between Drain Brothers Excavating Limited and the township of Asphodel-Norwood for 2024 gravel crushing program in the amount of $54,650. Mover, Councillor Walsh, second by Deputy Mayor Byrd. Any further questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. Continue on, Alan, with R4.
Through you, Mayor. This is another tender, but in this particular case, this tender went out through the county on behalf of a number of the municipalities, so that it has come back. They are recommending that this is the one that we accept. Now, this one we had budgeted, $87,000 for it. And unfortunately, it's come back a little bit higher at 95,800. Now, you will notice the previous one that I just said.
Save the money.
Savings there. We will apply that savings here, and I think we will be okay in how we manage it. This is also something that we do on a yearly basis. I'm sure you've seen this one before. So basically just, this is the recommendation from the county. This is the best one that we've got. So our recommendation is yes, we go forward with this.
I'll read the recommended motion that the council of the township of Asphodel-Norwood receives this report for information, and further that the council awards the Asphodel-Norwood portion of Peterborough County Cooperative Tender in number T-13-2024 to Delhi Dust Control Limited for the 2024 season contract at a cost of 0.3760 per liter. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Walsh. All in favor, any discussion or all in favor? All in favor, that motion's carried. R5, are you Filling in
I
for
am filling in for the chief building official on this one. He and I did have a meeting last week, so he could make sure that I knew what I would be talking about, but if we do get too detailed, I will have to refer those questions back to him. Basically, what we've got here, just amendments to our site plan control bylaw. The province made some changes to some of the provincial legislation. Basically, this is us keeping up with that to make sure that our bylaw reflects what the provincial bylaw, or sorry, provincial law says.
Alrighty. The recommended motion is that the council of the township of Asphodel-Norwood receives this report for information, and further that the council approves the recommended amendments to the bylaw 2020-31. Moved by Deputy Mayor Burt, second by Councillor Ward. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. R6, Jordan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. R6 is a report on the Asphodel-Norwood Medical Center financial update. In November 2023, a report was brought to council regarding the lease agreement for the Asphodel-Norwood Medical Center within the Trillium Campus building at 17 Spruce Street, Norwood, for a term of 25 years. From that report, council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute a lease agreement for the 25 years and authorize the cost of leasehold improvements to be withdrawn from the general working funds reserve. The November 23 report provided estimates for donations, an annual lease amount, leasehold improvements, and equipment, furniture, and supplies. In November 2023, the 2024 municipal operating capital budget was adopted and attaches a cost and estimate update as of April 5th, 2024 for the capital and startup costs and the 2024 operating budget for the Asphodel-Norwood Medical Center. We've done our best to estimate the outstanding capital and startup costs as well as operating revenues and expenses for 2024. And I've just noted that given that it's a new lease and a new space, there are some unknown costs that we may see moving forward. The table is there. Are there any questions? Do you want me to quickly summarize it?
Council?
Just a quick summary.
Yeah, sure. So on the capital and startup side, it looks like our estimate currently is we're about $77,000 over budget. If we do continue to get donations in, that number will come down.
Right.
And you can see through the table that the initial estimate from the previous report was at $254,500. And that's the number we're going off of. We're hoping that the estimate for the outstanding costs are close. We are close, as you know, it's functioning, currently functioning. And then the second table is the operating budget. So we've taken the budget you passed in November 2023, and we've involved as many stakeholders as we possibly could to come up with our estimates for this year. So there are some increases there that you see that I think were just maybe ballpark figures at the time, unknowns. Now that we've had a little bit of time to investigate and see what's required to operate the facility, there's been increases.
Deputy Mayor Burt?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing this forward. Certainly when this was coming to us last year, the numbers were very different. And I think we were all, as we were going through the process, a little,
Shocking.
yeah, we were a little shocked. So it's good to have a number. At least we have that number, because as we were going through it, we realized that the numbers that were given to us weren't accurate. So I guess my question, when it comes to the capital, I assume that comes from reserves. So when it comes to the operating, I guess I'm looking at funding. Where are we getting the overages from? That's where I'm sitting, and either one of you.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So Right now, part of the reason we brought this report now is we wanted council to know what the status was.
Yeah.
We did not want to get to the end of the year and have a surprise for you.
Yeah.
It's not how I do business. It's not what I believe in. So we're trying to be as open and transparent as we can. Yes, we have a challenge over there. We're gonna do our best to address that challenge. We're gonna be looking at, are there ways we can cut down things? Are there ways we can look for donations, other pieces to the revenue side of things? Right now, we're looking at trying to raise $25,000. Clearly, if we could raise more than that, that would be better for us. We're also looking at when we do the budget for 2025, that we will have numbers that accurately reflect what it actually costs to run the medical center, because a lot of these were people's best guesses. Really, some of those guesses were a little bit off. And so other than, I mean, we're gonna be looking at every avenue that we can to try and wrangle that number down a little bit. I can't make any promises. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly how it's go, other than I can commit that we're gonna be doing everything we can to try and bring that number down in any way that we can.
And just to follow up, and I do know, Mayor Wilford is working extremely hard, pounding the pavement with other, municipalities and leads he has, so, just in case others don't know that, I know he's working hand in hand with you and working really hard to find different revenue sources,
There's a
so.
lot of work going on behind
Yeah.
the scenes.
Yeah.
And I'm not in a spot where I'm
No.
going to make any kind of commitment on
No.
what's gonna happen or what's not, other than we're doing everything we can, and again, there's a lot of work going on.
Good, thank you.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thank you for the report. It is clear. I like the, comments on the side as well. And yes, where do we go from here? I think that's a question to come later, but, I think it's good to have these numbers out so everybody is aware of it. And, that we're going into budgets, talks, probably late summer, how we're going to go forward. So anyways, thanks for the report.
Thank you, Jordan. Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, again, just the same thing, just echoing what everybody has said. Thank you very much for the report. Yeah, you know what, when we put the numbers together for this, there was lots of estimates. Some were good, some were not as good, but again, at the bottom, I think for me, the bottom line is we have 3 doctors in our town now. Opportunity maybe to even add more. We have a nurse practitioner here. And that was a #1 calling from many people in this community that we need healthcare services. So yes, there's a cost associated with it. I know collectively we will work to try and find savings, try and find other revenue streams, but to me, the bottom line is we got a very proud facility over there, and anybody that's been there loves it. And we'll just, we'll keep finding ways to sharpen the pencil and get as good as we can on this. And again, bottom line is managing healthcare really isn't a lower tier responsibility, but again, through the warden's breakfast this morning, there's just so much downloading that's coming down, and there's just a lot of pressure to try and provide what our residents want. So I'm thrilled with what we have over there, and we'll get better on this as we go forward. So thank you very much for the report.
Deputy Mayor Burt.
I have one more follow-up. Thank you, through you, Mayor. Just, I guess on that downloading piece, I think that's something from the county, Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. The lobbying can be done to, change that whole funding model, even with nurse practitioners. If they could actually build a province. So I think that lobby piece is important too,
Very
Mayor.
important.
And yeah, certainly, this is brand new, we're months in. You can't just take a facility and expect it to be in the black in 6 months or a year. I realize it takes time. So, anyway, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. I'll put the recommended motion that the council of the township of Asphodel-Norwood accepts its report regarding the medical center financial update for information. Moved by Councillor Ward, second by Councillor Walsh. All in favor? Motion's carried. Back to our CAO. Alan, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Mayor. For you. So I have a report here on the old medical center and some interest that's been shown in that. So really what I'm looking for here is for council to receive the report And also, if they decide to give me direction to enter into negotiations to see if we can or want to work something out. So the two superintendents of the medical center, they left earlier in 2024. One went to the new medical center and the other's gone to a facility downtown. In March, we were approached by an interested party that was expressed some interest in would we be open to the idea of renting the space out. We are always open to ideas when they're presented to us, so yes, we met with the interested party on site, we reviewed the space with them. And they have come back with a request on what they would like, so I've listed off the pieces that they would like. A negotiation is a back and forth, nobody ever gets anything, in a good negotiation, nobody gets everything that they want. But I felt this was good information for you to have, at least to know where we're coming from. If you give me the direction, then I will go back and I will have some negotiations with them. Some of this pieces will be in here. Some of it, there may be some tweaking to, or there may be some different pieces in there. And then that lease would come back to council for approval on that, if that's at the direction that we get. The other thing that happened is in the beginning of this month, in April, we were also approached by the Peterborough Children and Family Centers about some potential space. And originally we had showed them they currently have some space that they're using over the library. It presents some challenges for them. They were looking at some other stuff. We talked about some space here. They asked if they could see the medical center space as well. So we went over there and they then came back to us and said, hey, could we use some of this space? Now, in their particular case, they are not in a position where they can offer us any rent for it. We are letting them use space in the library right now, which they don't pay rent for either, so this would be an extension of that in a different place, again, if that's something council wants to do. So if anybody has any questions on the report, I'm happy to address them, but basically we have a couple of potential interested parties in the space over there, and I'm just looking for council to let me know how interested we are. Now, the other part is we will be getting the facilities master plan back probably next month. Do we want to move forward with this? Do we want to wait? And that's something the council will have to decide. The piece I would put out there is a lot of the times that we're talking about here, the time frame for the facilities master plan is probably going to be an extended time frame. I don't want to presume too much till we get the plan, but I don't think it's going to be anything that we're going to be immediately able to put into place. So I think this is definitely worth considering. I think it brings a service into the community that we don't currently have and gives a service that we do currently have better space to operate in. And I think those are good things for the community. So I'm just looking the council's direction on which way they'd like to go.
I have one question, Lori, you might remember this, Peterborough Child and Family Centers, is that not the one on the county level? Was
Well,
there on the
they've-
weekend?
They've
Or
been,
last ones?
they've been here for years. They
Yes,
used
I
to
know that.
operate out of churches, then they were in the high school,
Mhm.
and then the high school grew, they moved around a couple times in the high school grew. They had to move out, and they were in here, I believe, Seamus, for a season or.
Yeah, they said it was, years before I started, but they were here.
Yeah, so they've kind of been bouncing around, and I think the problem they've been bouncing around is because they, again, is downloading, they're not given any funding to have space. So they've been here a very, very long time. They provide pretty crucial
They do.
service to the community, and especially a growing community. I would hate to lose them, and I know I spoke with, I forget the director, Kathy, I forget her full name. And I know she was looking at churches again, kind of
Yes.
going back that route. I don't think there was a lot of success there right now. Anyhow, they've changed their name a few times. It used to be, yeah, I forget, they've changed their name several times, but they
The
are.
ones that were at the last, county meeting?
No,
No, it's
no,
another child service.
that was just a childcare,
Okay,
funding, you know, that,
okay,
that's
that's
a
what I was
different,
asking.
yeah, no, this is different, sorry. So I probably didn't answer your question
No, but I
correctly, but
did-
I gave you
but I-
some background.
Yes, I did know.
Yeah, yeah.
Does anybody else have questions for Alan? Council Walsh?
Through you, Mayor, I'll to you, because again, I'm not a leaser of property, so I have no idea, so. You know, the request for rent is $1,000 a month, and again, I have no idea, is that good, bad, indifferent, low, high? I'm struggling to know.
Sure, through you, Mayor. Normally as a municipality, we're not in the landlord business as a rule. In this particular case, we have a space that happens to fit. I think for the service coming in that currently isn't in the community, that's a good thing. Would I always like to get more? I would always like to get more. When I had conversation with the interested person, they pretty much kind of said, this is the range that they have, this is what they can work with. I have to respect that when they're telling me that. So in looking at what previous rents we got, it's in the ballpark, but probably in the lower part of the ballpark.
And I gotta, if I can, part
Yes.
into that, so that's part one, and the second part to it is so that's the monthly rental. And there's the utility piece, was the request for a flat fee of $150 a month. Again, just same question, does that, I just look at my own house, $150 a month for heat hydro seems light. So again, I have no idea,
Oh, no,
so
and
maybe that
that's-
is a good number.
I would suggest probably, again, it breaks down the percentage of the space. So I would suggest there's probably, July and August, when we're not paying a whole lot for heat, it's probably not a bad deal for us. January, February, it's probably a pretty good deal for them. The piece we could potentially do to address that would be to say that, have that, in the lease, we would say we could have that for the first year. And then we could do a review of that. If we found out that it was significantly out of whack, we could potentially, we'd have better information after that first year to take a look at it.
Okay, Councillor Wall.
Yeah, thank you. Just to tag on to what Councillor Walsh was saying, the second part was more to do with the utilities and, you know, and I think you need that 1 year to see a true cost because, you know, it's just fair. Like, I know that the utilities, they've been in a household with two people, like myself and my partner. It's much more than 150 a month. It just is. The second part to that was each year the province allows, you know, the amount of what somebody pays for rent for a building to be increased. Will this also be in the
That would be-
agreement? Because it should, because otherwise you can never catch up.
That would be part of the negotiation that we would have, like to say, okay, this is the start, and whether that's
Yeah,
2, 5, 10% a year, whatever
Yeah.
that might
I
be.
don't know if it's 1.8 or 2.2,
Yeah.
whatever it is, but we need to,
We-
I
we
sort of
would
just
take a look
needs
at
to be
that,
done if possible.
I mean, the other thing I would throw to you on the utility side is currently the paramedic base is in there. So right now, we're paying for the utilities because they're there anyway. So anything we got would be more than we get today, that would be more than we get today.
Right, no, I understand that.
Deputy Mayor Bird.
Oh, yeah, thank you, through you, Mayor. Yeah, that was my question as well. I think we would need to look at the utilities. It is a business and, I know unless each section of the building was metered differently and that's not gonna happen, but I think we do need to look at that. So that would be something, that would be in the lease agreement. As far as they had mentioned about the signage, putting their own in same location dimensions, I think that's great, but the building is still owned by the township, so I think that still needs to be, you know, there still needs to be a recognition that the township is still there, so maybe that needs to be, tweaked a little bit, and just, minimum of 6 months notice at the lease termination, and I think that needs to work both ways, right?
That is, to be fair, that is standard language.
Okay, that's fine,
That we would have something in there, again,
yeah.
we're not looking to disadvantage anybody, but we're also looking to make sure we're not
Yeah,
disadvantaged.
exactly. And as far as a lease term, it said 5-year lease would take 3, and I think 3 is fair. I agree when that facilities master plan comes back. Whatever we do within the township with different facilities or buildings, it's gonna take time. We have to get a plan in place, you know, reserves built up, whatever the case may be. I know there's a couple options for that building, but there's no money there to do the changes that we're gonna need to make. So I think 3 years goes by in the blink of an eye, and I think, I'd hate to see that building sit empty. And I think the service is fantastic coming into the community. And in both, the lease for Dr. Keogh's former space and then the other side for the other, but yeah, it's just, I wish we could get some money for the other side, and I think I would, for the other side, I wouldn't wanna throw a 3-year thing out there, I'd wanna throw, September to June. And they can keep looking at options, and maybe we can look at options to fill that space, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, Debbie, I would agree with that. I would think on that side of the space, I would probably even just take a session at a time. I
Yeah.
think they do a four
I
or
think
6 month session.
September to December.
Something like that.
January. Yeah, I think
I don't
they
think
do
I
it
would wanna
chunks.
do anything long term
Yeah.
with them, because again, there's 3. A, we're not making any revenue from it,
Exactly.
and I would hate to be locked into something if somebody else comes along that we think is an excellent fit.
I know.
Sorry, we can't do that, so I would think
Yeah.
we would probably just take that one session by session.
Mhm.
Thank you, Alan. Sorry, Councilor Ward, you have a
Just
follow-up?
one more follow-up if I may to Alan. So with the 2 potential occupants coming into the building, how much more space is available over there, if any?
I don't believe there'd be much left at all.
Would it be one office space?
Actually, hang on, let me just turn around and ask the manager of facilities. There's not any space left after that, is there?
So thank you through your mayor. So, the person putting in the request would be looking to take Dr. Keel's office, 2 offices at the back. And then the Peterwell Child Family Center would be taking the old chiropractor, which that would take the whole upstairs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Burt?
Sorry, just one more follow-up. So I know the Family Resource Center, because they don't have programs there 5 days a week. Maybe that would change, but perhaps if somebody is needing, an office space in there, perhaps
We could rent.
there's that potential as well to, they could share a space.
Any opportunity, if we could share
Yeah.
space, if there's a way to get the most we can out of that
Yeah.
building, that would be our preferred goal.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess just one more comment to the mayor, I'm sorry. It just sounds like going around the table that we are in agreement. We want to do something with this space, and I guess in your first question was, is there room for negotiation? Yes, I believe there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the motion.
Mhm.
Yes.
To give me permission to start a negotiation.
Thank you, Alan.
Sorry, I do have one more, if you don't mind me asking, and it's pretty directed more to you, Al. And I get why this is coming in. Who do you want beside him and I want beside him? Are you comfortable with that language? I get it, understand, would want all those other
We would-
history business.
I'm not overly concerned by that language. We, again, in the actual lease, we would land somewhere with language that works for everybody.
Fair for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I'll state the recommended motion that the council of the township of Asphodel-Norwood accepts, acknowledges, and approves this report. And further, that the council directs the CAO to enter into negotiations to lease the vacant space at the old medical center with both interested parties. Can I have a mover? Councillor Ward, Deputy Mayor Burt. We've discussed it. All in favor? It's carried. Our final staff report is a management action list. Alan, you're still on.
Busy meeting this morning, or today, Mayor. Thank you very much. So through you, Mayor, yeah, this is basically the update that you get every meeting to say, here's what's going on with the management team, here's what we're working on. I think you're making good progress on everything. You can see the X's on the ones that we've already done from earlier in April. We got everything that we said we were going to get done for this meeting. We do have an extra week in our meeting before we meet in May, so we're gonna use that extra week the best we can and hopefully come back with a good meeting in May and cross off more things for you. But yeah, I think the list is in good shape. We're working our way on it. We've got dates attached to a lot of things now, and I think we're in pretty good shape.
Councilors, any questions? Recommended motion is the council accepts this report with the revisions suggested by staff and members of council. Councillor Walsh and Deputy Mayor Burt, all in favor? Motion's carried. On to the correspondence for actions. What's council wishes with respect to C12 Conservation Authorities Act? Motion to receive, seconder, Councillor Walsh. No further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Council liaison reports. Deputy Mayor Burke.
Thank you. Just, on the county council PCFA representative. So just a reminder that Thursday at 2 p.m. at Maduro Community Center is the final draft of the Ag Impact Study by Margaret Walton, which will be presented. So, that's open to counselors and staff and planning and all of that. So, it will be interesting. I know there's some changes made from, excuse me, from the first draft. So that will be on Thursday. And then just as I came in here, I got an email. I am the rep for the county and the township for the Conservation Coalition Source Protection Committee. And I just got an email from them, and if you just bear with me, that they were, this is coming from Queens Park and Jim Hunt, our chair. Obviously wrote to the health minister as well when it comes to the well water testing. And they got a letter today that says we will continue to test the well water in the province of Ontario. We've had it for decades. It's a system that many understand the value and importance of it in rural Ontario. We're going to continue the process. So that was from Health Minister Sylvia Jones. So it sounds like that's a done deal, and that just came out today. So I'm hoping this is public news. It was sent to a lot of people just a short time ago, so I assume it's out there. So that's good news. I think they got a lot of pressure from every community on that, so.
Yes.
That's everything. Thank you.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you through you, Mayor. I did put a council liaison report in, but just a couple reminders. April 30th for all of council, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock at the town hall. And I was just talking to our community support person, Prudence, and she's going to send out more information to everyone. It should be out tomorrow with the agenda and the ribbon cutting. So there's more details to come. And the second part, May 4th and 5th is the opening of the Heritage Center in Westwood. And that's the start of our summer season. So if anyone's out and about, please stop in. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councillor Walsh.
Yes, just a quick follow-up regarding special projects group is planning is well underway, and social media actually has already started for Showcase Asphodel-Norwood, which will be held here on Saturday, June 15th.
All right. That's everything. Moving along, CAO, treasurer's list, Alan, Melanie, or Jordan, do you have anything else to bring forward?
I think I brought a lot forward.
You did bring a lot forward, Alan.
I'm very comfortable with where I am.
General business, does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss? Councillor Walsh.
Just kind of bring up, actually, I was speaking to Councillor Ward on the words breakfast this morning. So a couple of conferences coming up. One is AMO, which is August 16th to the 21st in Ottawa.
Mhm.
And the Ontario East Municipal Conference is September 11th to the 13th, and it's also in Ottawa. I have no idea whether anybody is thinking of going.
Alan and I are going to AMO,
AMO.
and the other one, I might do that through the county.
I won't be emo, maybe Ontario East.
I think I would be going to
Eastern.
the eastern one. I don't. think
It'd be
I'd
nice
going
if
to-
somebody from.
From the
council goes.
municipality.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one. I
Yeah.
haven't gone for a few years.
Yeah, and it's in Ottawa, not Cornwall,
Cornwall.
which is a lot nicer.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, it'd be nice to at least see one or two go to that, I
Right.
think, whoever
So
it
if
is.
you're thinking of going, I
Yeah.
will pass, because as long as I say,
Yeah.
like you. It's nice to have representation there. It is a good conference.
Yeah.
All right. Any other general business? No? Closed session, we don't have any. Notice of motion, we have no closed session, notice of motion today. We'll move on to the bylaws. Ask the clerk to proceed.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. That the bylaw to amend bylaw 2020-31, being a bylaw to designate the township of Asphodel-Norwood as a site plan control area, be read a first, second, and third time in number 2024-19.
Deputy Mayor Byrd, Councillor War, all in favor? Motion's carried.
That the bylaw to establish fees and charges to be collected by the corporation of the township of Asphodel-Norwood be read a first, second, and third time in number 2024-20.
Councillor Walsh, Councillor War, all in favor? Motion's carried. Confirming by law.
That the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of the council of the township of Asphodel-Norwood held this date, April 23rd, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time in number 2024-21.
Deputy Mayor Byrd, Councillor War, all in favor? Motion's carried. Future meeting schedule. Council, you see the future meeting schedule that now concludes our business for the day. Any questions on the meeting schedule before I, no? All right, may I get a motion for adjournment then? Thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Walsh, second by Deputy Mayor Byrd. All in favor? Motion's carried. Time is 1:40.